ايه وتطلع البرودكت ده في الوقت الصح بالمواصفات الصح بالامكانيات الصح. وشكرا.
شكرا عمرو بيه. طيب okay, so thank you Amr Bey for a great answer. So turning Arkan into a city and turning it into a destination and starting with a dream was very inspiring for us, and I was honored to be seeing this closely. And honestly, 205 inshallah will be much bigger and more inspiring, and inshallah you create a bigger parking than Hisham Talat Mustafa very soon inshallah. So we moved to Mr. Ibrahim Kamil, and I grew up seeing the name of Ibrahim B. Kamil as the iconic businessman. I'm part of the 80s and 90s generation, grew up in the 80s and 90s, and we learned that going cross-border is possible through businessmen like you. So how did you manage to go cross-border in the 80s and 90s in a very, let me be honest, protectionist era? And how were you able to scale this and manage all of those changes of power and control?
أولاً أبتدي بإني أشكر جامعة النيل على هذه الدعوة لهذا اللقاء. أخونا المهندس صلاح دياب خد الوقت بتاع الندوة، فأنا هحاول أركز على قد ما أقدر بعض النقاط اللي أتمنى إنه الشباب يقدروا يستفيدوا منها في رحلة حياتهم، واللي أتمنى لهم إنهم كلهم يحققوا أكبر قدر من النجاح، ويبقى النجاح اللي حققوه هو أكبر خدمة لبلدهم، لأن مصر لما بنقول أم الدنيا حقيقة مصر ممكن تبقى أم الدنيا. أبتدي بإني أقول إنه زي ما أشار المهندس صلاح دياب إنه البنوك ممكن تساعدك في رحلة الحياة. بقدم نصيحة مهمة جدا للشباب، إن البنوك، وأنا كنت مؤسس لأحد هذه البنوك اللي هو HSBC، البنوك ممكن تبقى أحسن صديق طول ما أنت في حال ممتاز من الأداء، إنما البنوك ممكن تبقى أكبر عدو عندما تتعثر في رحلة النجاح. فدي نصيحة للشباب. البنك ممكن يساعدك، لكن ممكن يبقى أكبر ضرر لك في وقت من الأوقات. تاني حاجة أحب أقولها إن لأن مصر عظيمة يعني لازم نتعلم to think big، لازم نفكر دايما تفكير كبير، ولازم نطمع في إن احنا نقدم لبلدنا شيء مشرف ونقدم لها كل جديد. ثالث حاجة مهمة أقولها للشباب، إن أقصر طريق ما بين نقطتين هو الخط المستقيم. في رحلة حياتك هيبقى قدامك فرص إنك يبقى في حلول سهلة، إنما فيها قدر من الخلاف مع القانون. اوعى تقبل إنك تقبل هذه الحلول السهلة، لأنك ما تعرفش في يوم من الأيام قد يكون هناك من يحاسبك على قرار خدته من 30 سنة وعلى اتفاق عملته، لكن هذا الاتفاق لا تستطيع أن تدافع عنه. مهم جدا إنك تحط دي حلقة في ودنك. مهم جدا أيضا إن احنا نعرف إن الحياة فيها نجاح وفيها في بعض الأحيان عدم نجاح. اوعى تخلي عدم النجاح يعمل لك احباط انك تكمل في الطريق اللي انت حاطه لنفسك، وانك عايز توصل الى قدر كبير من النجاح. مهم جدا برضو انك تبقى عارف انه المشاكل اللي موجودة في الحياة او المشاكل اللي موجودة في رحلة المانجمنت او رحلة البيزنس، مهم جدا انك تبقى عارف انك تستخدم العلم على قد ما تقدر، لانه في بعض المبادئ البسيطة اللي اتعلمناها زي الباريتو برينسبل اللي هو ال80-20. لما تواجه مشكلة حاول تركز على السبب الرئيسي لهذه المشكلة، وإن كان ما يحللكش المشكلة بالكامل، إنما هتحل 80% من المشكلة، وده يبقى إنجاز. أيضا في رحلة النجاح بتبقى معتمدة على معاونين. أحسن اختيار معاونيك، وما تخافش إنك تختار ناس أحسن منك عشان يساعدوك، لأنه في النهاية لما بتختار ناس أحسن منك المحصلة بتاعت النجاح بتبقى راجعة لك وراجعة للمكان اللي انت بتشتغل فيه. مهم جدا أيضا إن احنا نعرف إنه النجاح في المجال الاقتصادي له كثيرين يعني ممكن يحقدوا على هذا النجاح. ما تخافش من هذا الحقد، إنما اعمل الحاجة اللي هي تعالج هذا الحقد، وهو المسؤولية الاجتماعية لرأس المال. المسؤولية الاجتماعية لرأس المال أهم في تقديري من المسؤولية الاقتصادية لرأس المال. مهم جدا إن احنا نبقى عارفين إنه عشان رأس المال يعيش في أي مجتمع ويبقى متقبل من هذا المجتمع، لابد أن يكون هذا يعني رأس المال ده عنده قدر من الفهم، لأنه مش كل الناس تستطيع أن تحقق النجاح، ولكن في بعض الأحيان بتقدر تساعد قطاعات معينة في هذا المجتمع. طبعا مهم جدا ان احنا نبقى عارفين ايضا انه المناخ اللي اتكلم عنه عمر بيه، المناخ في بعض الاحيان ممكن يبقى مساعد على النجاح. مع الاسف ان بذرة الحقد اللي دخلت في التربة المصرية في فترة الستينات لا زالت بتتحكم في التوجه الإعلامي اللي موجود في بلدنا في كثير من الأحيان. أرجوكم تعرفوا إنه بالرغم من المناخ وبالرغم من الصعوبات اللي ممكن تواجهها، أنت تستطيع إنك تنجح وتستطيع أن تؤدي. آخر حاجة أقدر أقولها إنه في ستيتمنت قالها الرئيس الراحل جون كينيدي في وقت من الأوقات: ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. يا رب يكون مستقبلكم كله نجاح وكله إنجاز، وأنا شاكر على حسن الاستماع.
Thank you, Ibrahim Bey. I'll try to translate quickly. So the 7 points that Ibrahim Bey mentioned, the first is that Egypt has a lot of opportunities. It's the mother of the world. Second, although Salah Bey said that banks are good, but when it goes south, sometimes banks hit you hard. Third, don't break the law, because in 30 years, law, the laws you broke can be a problem. Even if you agreed with some people on things, don't break the law. Fourth, the problem in the journey can be solved with science using the 80-20 rule. Fifth, choose your people well and choose people who are better than you. The credit will be given to you. Number 6, the CSR, do good for the economy and do good for the people. And the last one is be good to your country and avoid the people who say bad things in the media. So let me move now to Omar Bey Damati. I'm trying to speak in English, and if my guests speak in Arabic, I will translate at the end. So I'm very sorry if there is changes in languages, but I'll try to do my best. So, Mr. Omar, you managed to create Domti into like the name of the cheese, like the clinics of clinics. And this was very hard to be done in a country fragmented like Egypt. How did you manage to create this in this market, and what's your advice to younger entrepreneurs?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنا طبعا يعني ما عنديش كتير أضيفه بعد كلام صلاح بيه دياب وإبراهيم بيه كامل وعمرو للشباب، لكن برضو يمكن لما أقول من واقع تجربتي يقدروا يستفيدوا بشيء ولا حاجة. أنا يعني ابتديت في وقت صعب جدا، كنا في الستينات، كنت طالب في المدرسة وكان أبويا بيمتلك مصانع لإنتاج الزيت والصابون والمحالق للقطن وشون للقطن وكده. وبعدين في الستينات وأنا يعني في سن المراهقة تقريبا كده، شفت الحاجات دي كلها وهي بتروح، المصانع بتتأمم والدنيا يعني بتختلف خالص. فدي خلتني عندي قناعة في إن لازم الواحد يبقى عنده يعني اقتناع بأن كل حاجة ممكن تروح في لحظة يعني. ومرت الأيام بعد كده، وكان أبويا في الوقت ده بيجبرني إن أنا أروح المصنع وأنا صغير. عشان أسافر اسكندرية في المصيف لازم أروح أقعد شهر في المصنع الأول. أقول له أعمل إيه؟ يقول لك روح المصنع. فكنت بروح اقعد مع العمال واقعد في المصنع والموضوع ده يعني، واقعد اكل معاهم في الكانتين وكده وبتاع. الموضوع ده فضل في الخلفيه في ذهني يعني فتره طويله. ولما ابتديت في الحياه العمليه، ابتديتها برضو في فتره ما كانش فيها اي نوع من انواع العمل الحر. اي حد لازم بيتخرج بينتظر قرار القوى العامله. كان في حاجه اسمها القوى العامله، تعيين القوى العامله تعينه في اي مكان يروح فيه بصرف النظر عن هو متخرج من ايه. انا خريج زراعه قسم صناعات غذائيه، ممكن يوديك تروح تشتغل في وزاره الثقافه مثلا ولا حاجه. فكانت حاجات قصص غريبه جدا ما بتسمعوها برضو، ممكن يعني تقدروا الحياه اللي انتوا عايشينها دلوقتي يعني. فالمهم يعني فضلت موضوع المصنع ده في الخلفيه، وابتديت حياتي في الكارير بتاعي شاءت الاقدار ان انا ابتديت في برضه في وظيفه من الوظائف دي، بس ما قدرتش استمر. وكان عندي الجرأه، ودي برضه حته مهمه جدا. انا خدت قرار في وقت معين، قلت لا انا مش هكمل كده في قاعد ما بشتغلش، وانا هدور على عمل حر. وده كان يعني قرار برضه شجاع جدا، ان الواحد يستقيل وهو ما فيهوش مش ضامن اي حاجه يعني. ابتديت شغل كممثل لشركات اجنبيه مورده المعدات وقطع غيار، معدات سوري وخطوط انتاج ولمصانع وفي صناعات مختلفه بقى يعني. وفضلت اشتغل فتره طويله لمده سنه او سنه ونص بدون اي عائد. وبعد كده ربنا فتح عليا وابتديت عملت شغل كويس قوي وبعدين مر وقت لغايه حوالي مثلا 7-8 سنين، وعملت فلوس كويسه قوي. لكن في ذهني دايما المصنع والصناعه، فخدت قرار ان انا ابتدي اخش في الصناعه. دخلت بقى ده السؤال بتاع ليه صناعه الجبنه وكده. في الوقت ده يعني اثناء ما كنت بشتغل في التوكيلات التجاريه، وردت لمصر الالبان مصنعين 2 لصناعه الالبان بالكامل، ووردت للمصنع برضو للجيش في انتاج الالبان. فبقى عندي خبره في المجال ده. ففكرت ان الشعب المصري ده ما فيش حد ما بياكلش جبنه بيضه صبح وظهر وبالليل، والجبنه البيضه دي في الوقت ده كانت صناعه يعني حاجه سيئه جدا. لما رحت شفتها حاجات حديد وقلبات خشب والكلام ده. فقررت ان انا اعمل، مش عايز اطول عليكم يعني، عملت مصنع، وخدت الفلوس اللي عملتها كلها اللي كسبتها كلها حطيتها في المصنع ده. والمصنع ده كان لانتاج الجبنه البيضاء وجبنه موتزاريلا وجبن سيمي هارد. وابتديت شغل، والمصنع ده ما بيجيبش اي حاجه لان طبعا المصروفات بتاعته عاليه، ومصنع على اعلى مستوى وجاي من الدنمارك ومن هولندا والكلام ده. والموزاريلا اقول لهم يا جماعه انا بنتج موزاريلا، الناس تسالني تقول لي موزاريلا يعني ايه؟ محدش يعرف يعني ايه موزاريلا دي. وبعدين بعد اذنكم قعدت على الحال ده لمده سنه تقريبا، سنه ونص، مفيش اي ارباح ولا اي حاجه، بل في خسائر. الكوست اوف برودكشن عالي بالمقارنه بالحاجات اللي حواليها. فزي ما بقول لكم برضو الجبنه البيضاء كانت في مصر بالشكل ده، ومفيش حاجه اسمها بند. الراجل يخش عند البقال يقول له ربع جبنه بيضاء، نص جبنه بيضاء. وكان في حاجات بتيجي بقى صفايح من الصعيد اسمها يقول لك جبنه من ملاوي وحاجات كده، حاجه يعني سيئه جدا. ف في هذا التوقيت لقيت حد بيكلمني بيقول لي انا اسمي الدكتور احمد الخامي من المركز القومي للبحوث وممكن اجي اقابلك. قلت له اتفضل. وده الحته دي بقى بتربط حته البحث العلمي بالصناعه، يعني ايه فجالي الراجل وقعد قال لي انت البروسيس اللي اللي انت شغال بيه في حاجه تانية. انا كنت بدرس الدكتوراه بتاعتي في فرنسا، وكان في كلام على سيستم اسمه التر فلتريشن، وبيقال ان هو بيطبق في الالبان والكلام ده وبتاع. قلت له طب انت يعني واثق من الكلام ده؟ قال لي اه. قلت له طب تعالى. خدته وطلعنا على رين في فرنسا، قابلنا رئيس القسم بتاعه، والراجل قال لنا ان في فعلا الترا فلتريشن بتعمله شركه اسمها تكساب في فرنسا، عباره عن فلاتر، والفلاتر دي بتعمل عمليه تركيز عالي جدا للالبان، بحيث انك انت بتاخد كل السوليدز اللي موجوده فيها. مش هطول عليكم. نجحت، خدت بايلوت سمول بايلوت يونت وجربناها، نجحت نجاح ممتاز. قلبت المصنع كله للالترا فلتريشن، وكان بدايه نجاح وتيرن اوفر بقى يعني حاجه يعني مختلفه تماما يعني. فالابس والداونز في الحياه دايما، وفي الصناعه وفي الشغل. ودي بقى حاجه لازم كل الشباب يعرفوها، انك انت النجاح ما بيستمرش على طول، لازم بتواجه بعض الاخفاقات في الحياه. لازم الواحد يكون عنده المثابره والقوه وايمان بالله بان هو دايما ينجح. واحنا النهارده شركه دومتي عباره عن 3 مصانع. مصنع للمخبوزات، دخلنا في البيكري بقى، في صناعه البيكري برضو، والحمد لله ماشيه كويس قوي. وفي عندنا صناعه الديري، وبعدين المصنع بتاع الالبان وعصائر. وعندي شركه تانية برضو في الحاصلات الزراعيه. فالمجال كله هو عباره عن صناعات غذائيه وحاصلات زراعيه. مش بقى يعني مش حدوته زي صلاح دياب. صلاح دياب ده الحقيقه ده راجل حدوته، يعني اللي ما سابش مجال في البيزنس ما اشتغلش فيه. وده نوع من انواع الانتربرينور بتاع كله الحقيقه يعني. ويعني وبرضه ابراهيم بيه كامل الهيستوري بتاعه برضه، ده الراجل اشتغل في كل حاجه تقريبا. انا وصديقي عمرو بدر الدين الى حد ما في نوع من التخصص، يعني هو تخصص في مجال معين وانا متخصص في مجال معين اللي هو الصناعات الغذائيه والحصلات الزراعيه. زي ما بقول الكلام اللي قاله ابراهيم بيه للشباب كلهم، انا مش هقدر اضيف عليه كتير، لكن بقول لهم انه كنتوا لازم تعرفوا انه كنتوا في زمن اسهل بكتير من الزمن اللي احنا كنا فيه، وانه المعلومات بالنسبه لكم زي ما كان عمرو بيه بيقول دلوقتي متاحه بشده، وكل اللي مطلوب منكم انه كنتوا تطلعوا بافكار جديده. حته الايماجينيشن برضو بتاعت صلاح دياب دي حقيقه، الايماجينيشن دي شيء مهم جدا، وبتمنى لكم التوفيق في حياتكم باذن الله، والنجاح دايما والتوفيق. شكرا.
شكرا يا فندم. I'll try to summarize quickly. Thank you, Omar Bey, for the great analysis. So the story started in the 60s with learning from his dad, and then when he was waiting for a job, he chose the entrepreneurial path and to start his own work. He started being a representative for companies from abroad. Then he started the factory, and he depended on filling a gap in the market which is white cheese and then mozzarella, and then later on, he acquired scientific research, which was ultrafiltration from France, and this helped him scale. And today he is the biggest in his field. And he said that Omar Bey and Amr Bey are more specialized, whether in cheese or foods and dairy or real estate. But Ibrahim Bey and Salah Bey are more holistic and more macro on business, and they work in multiple fields. So I hope it was a good panel, and thank you for listening, and thank you for my great mentors for being with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this amazing panel. I would like to invite Dr. Tariq Khalil and Professor Assam Rushdi to the stage. Moving to our next panel discussion, Intellectual Property in the Age of AI Technology. Please welcome Dr. Ala Idris, Professor of Management of Technology, Intellectual Property, Founder Advisor at Nile University. Professor Hisham Azmi, President of the Egyptian Authority of Intellectual Property. Dr. Hiba Qaoud, Associate Professor of Management of Technology and Director of the Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer Office at Nile University. Justice Farooq Khan, Chairman of United Trademark and Patent Service. And Mrs. Islam, Turkish Patent and Trademark Autonomy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this panel discussion on the intellectual property in the age of AI technology as part of the amazing IMOT 35 happening in Egypt for the second time, and with quite a decent presence and international participation. We're all very happy to have you all here and to have this level of participation. I won't spend a lot of time explaining the background and the basis of this, because we already know that the AI invasion to every facet of our lives is connected directly and indirectly to a lot of the institutionalization, IP protection, regulation and regulatory systems. That we are, I mean, I don't want to say we are in chaos, but we are near chaos at many levels. So this kind of discussion actually is very important in setting tracks, setting perspective on how we are receiving, how we are coping, how we are responding, whether institutions, regulators, and so on. And this is why we have, and we are actually blessed to have a good mix of different perspectives on the society and the community and the field who would give us their perspective on this. So we have today with us Professor Hisham Azmi, who is the National IP Policy and the National IP Authority, the head of the National IP Authority, the president. And we have also Justice R. Farooq Khan, who is the founder and the CEO, the chairman and the CEO of United Trademark and Patent Services. And we have Ms. Islam Shahinkaya, who is the head of RTTP at Sabancı University in Turkey. Thank you for being with us. And finally, we have our own professor, Associate Professor Hiba Qaoud, who is actually heading our Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer Office at Nile University. So with this, I will go straight to our first point of discussion, which is, it's a question for all of us. What is the single biggest shift that has made the old IP conversation insufficient or maybe irrelevant, right? There is a shift around us, and we would like for you to shed light on what's the biggest shift that made the old conversation, well, not exactly related to where we are today. And I will start with Professor Hisham. Let's see, it's one here.
Good morning, and I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you for the invitation. Just would like to have a very quick comment on what Prof. Hassan Ala just started with, which is the impact of the AI and the influence that it does have on all aspects of actually all ways of life, but particularly for IP. I've just returned from Geneva attending a very important meeting organized by WIPO, which the WILD is, which stands for WIPO Information Technology Leadership Dialogue, which actually focus entirely on the impact of AI and how IP offices all over the world should do to cope with the drastic changes that are taking place in IP, whether it's industry, patents, trademarks, or the copyright area. Now, back to the question, and very quick, I think the major change to me that took place in recent years is the notion that intellectual property is not about protection only anymore. Now, IP is so much pertinent and relevant to the entire innovation ecosystem. So IP now plays an integral role in serving innovation and creation, and it should have a noticeable role in bridging the gap between what the research and the industry, and also to change the mindset of both parties, like on researchers, especially young researchers in universities on one hand and the industry on the other, that acquiring the patent is not the end of it. Because really we see, I'm talking about the Egyptian experience, that probably people are working very hard to get this certificate, and that's the end of it. And actually it is not. It should actually be the beginning of a long journey, commercialization, licensing, etc. So the EGIPA now, which is the Egyptian Intellectual Property Authority, is trying its best to fill this gap and try to organize workshops and training programs for young researchers. And we do have many agreements with universities. And this is actually part of awareness on one hand, and also to encourage the different parts of the society, especially in academia, to understand the new role of IP. Thank you.
Can I have the same that perspective from just our Farhan Khan?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers and the university for inviting me to this August meeting, and to Dr. Hiba and Dr. Hassan for their kindness. It's always a pleasure to be back in Egypt. I think to answer, Dr. Azmi has set up a very positive pace. There is, if you see the cycle of intellectual property, there have been many shifts, you see. There was a time when research was primarily done in laboratories, and it was, the patents were filed, and there was no connection with industries. And then came the industries which joined hands with the universities, and we see in the US and Japan and all these developed countries that there is a very close connections. According to some figures, 70% of the patents which are filed and obtained in the US and European Patent Office have a university connected to it in one way or the other. Either a professor is working over there in the university and then joining hands with the industry, or a university research program is involved. So now then came the era of data. Then data became a monster, and then that was a major shift in intellectual property law, because one needed to give protection to data. Before that, music, the digitalization of music brought entities like Spotify and like all the musical channels. So there has been a constant move forward. And now the biggest monster is AI. And this is, taking the center place of all kinds of conversation, all kinds of new disputes, all kinds of, all kinds of controversies that are coming up. So for us, the legal academia and the legal fraternity, the biggest question is, if you are as an inventor or as a user, if you are using AI, how much are you contributing? Because if we know in patents, there has to be an individual person involved in doing the research. So if it is being done, it's done by machine learning, it's done by a machine, or it's done by some kind of a mechanism, who holds the rights for these intellectual property rights? So one has to be very careful. There have been many cases in the US, in Australia, and in Germany, where the courts have rejected the notion of patents being obtained through the use of AI. And because still the law has not been amended. And if I understand, I mean, I may be wrong, but I did a little research. I found that because we are in Egypt, there is no law regulating AI at the moment in Egypt. And Dr. Azmi may correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, it is. But we are sitting, and Egypt is a leader in Africa, at least, you see. So so that is, many countries are adopting the laws, but it's like, if you allow the monster to come out of the cage, then it's very difficult to rope that monster in. So if we have legislation as early as possible, then that would enable parties to understand what they are going for, what are their respective rights and how they have to respect. So in my opinion, a major shift in AI is going to take place. It's not taken place as yet, but it's going to take place, because AI is a positive. I take it that it's like when electricity was invented, people were afraid of it. When other technologies came, when the telephone came, when digitalization happened, people were slow to adopt. But in this time, I think this will be adopted in the next 3 or 4 years as the main tool for doing business, for doing research, for doing all kinds of activities. So a major shift in IP will come because of AI.
Thank you. I'll move now to Ms. Islam. Would you like to pass the microphone? Oh, you have one. Okay, so everyone has one. That's good. You are a practitioner, right, of protection and commercialization. So from your perspective, what's the biggest single shift that changed the narrative of the conversation on protection?
Yes. First of all, thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure to be here. I agree with all the mentioned about AI and changing technologies. For me, the biggest shift is scale and speed, actually. The innovation we used to see is much more scarce, but now it's going to be more faster, and we need to learn how to evaluate originality, value, and also quality. I think main shift is this, because Mr. Hisham and Farooq Khan is mentioned about the AI shifts, but scale and speed is also important.
Thank you. Let's move then to Dr. Heba. You are also a practitioner responsible for the IPTTO, and I'm sure you have seen some shifts from the old days. So how you describe that?
I believe that the shift, I can describe it in culture, in the mindset, because we have the mindset gap for a long time. The goal was just to get a promotion. So professors and faculty researchers are looking to publish their work and to get promoted. And now we have a shift in this mindset, and the culture has become changed, because we have supported our researchers by an awareness campaign to tell them that the real key to promote the knowledge economy is to work on a research that that could be translated into a product that can serve the society. So with this shift in mindset, researchers became very interesting to work on the research work that could be translated into market. And I have received as intellectual property and technology transfer office at Nile University around 45 invention disorder forms from the beginning of my the establishment of this office. I haven't any invention disorder form in my office. So I believe awareness was a key. Also, I believe we can add a very important point is the researchers were afraid to not get promoted because of the publications. That's why I told them that they can publish their work when they publish work that is not related to the patent claims. That's why they became very it was for them a key information. So they started to work on publications and at the same time working on their patent. Also, I can highlight a very important point that now the Ministry of Higher Education and Research has established is establishing a new rules for promotion for faculty members based on the research outcomes that could be translated into product. And I believe this is a major shift in our culture, and we can see the impact. And I believe with Dr. Hisham Azmi as he is the president of the Egyptian Authority for IP, he started a very big awareness campaign in all universities. And also he is working on the policies and the regulation that can enforce the IP law, and this is very important for our researchers to work to feel safe when they work on innovative ideas.
Thank you, Dr. Hiba. I'll go now back to Professor Hisham Azmi, and well, there is a little bit of contention point here, and I would like your insights on whether this is due to new technologies or old assumptions. Maybe we are just following old assumptions that does not accommodate those, or the flow of new technology is striking us so that we don't make the compatibility between them. What's your take on that?
Both.
Both.
Well, just a very quick comment before I answer the question regarding the laws and regulations governing the AI, because as we speak, there is no a single country that does have a clear regulations regarding how they would tackle the impact of AI on all areas, specifically in industry and patents and cultural creative industries. However, there is one global agreement there, which is the only thing, that there is no protection for any product generated by a machine unless there is a human intervention. There is no protection. The toughest part here that nobody can really tell with the percentage of this contribution. Is it 20%, 30%, 80%? Unless the researcher, he or himself, would actually declare that I did that. There is no way, because this is actually, as we call it, the black box. Nobody actually know exactly what's happening there. So this is a real issue. However, and because now, and also as we speak, currently we are revisiting the law of 82 for 2002, which is the major IP law in Egypt, because this is actually the second pillar of the national IP strategy of Egypt. We have to accommodate the new developments in IT technology and also other concerns that we have monitored over the years. Egypt, and because Egypt started very early, the first law of trademarks was actually initiated back in 1939. followed by patents in 1949, copyright in 1954. So you can imagine laws dating back 30s and 40s and 50s of the last century. Of course, at the time, there was no ICT, no metaverse, no AI, no nothing. So now we have to revisit, however, because there is no global agreement on how to tackle this issue. We will focus now on how to cater for the problems and issues actually emerging from the misuse or abuse of AI, because now we have two things here. The rights, and that would take some time, but how to cater for the complaints on daily basis. By the way, now we have complaints from people that, especially from sons and daughters of like celebrities, seeing their families being visualized in AI, and they didn't give any permission for anybody to do that. So, sorry, back again to the question. Both, I think the stereotype was that everything in IP is centric, and it's centered on human creation. Innovation, linear innovation cycles, and this pattern and a very clear distinction between creation and use. This is not the case anymore. AI has a great impact and changed the whole pattern. Now we are seeing repetitive, distributed, and mostly autonomous innovation systems. So we really need to rethink how the new IP systems and IP offices in turn going to accommodate that. And I would like to go back again to the meeting that I've just mentioned that took place in Geneva last week, that it was very evident that AI will not give solution. It will not actually resolve anything, but actually it will expose them. And we have to go back to the institutional foundations and governance for every office to ensure that we do have the foundation. The technological part actually the least concerned, because the technology is there. But unless you do have a very solid data structure and you have a very good governance, there is no way that you would be accommodating these new developments. So,
thank you. This is giving us more things to think about, especially on the consequences and responsibilities and accountability dimension. And maybe we'll get to that in a subsequent one. I'll go to Joseph Khan with being a practitioner and having actually an institution that gets involved in cases and so on. Where do you expect the pressure to be the greatest in practice with all what's coming across us? Where is the pressure points that your office, for instance, and similar office will need to deal with?
Very good question. In the absence of law and in the absence of clear rules, I think the pressure is on the courts.
Okay.
Because the lawyers will come up with this idea or that idea, and they will take their clients to the courts for interpretation of whether such and such use is an infringement or not. For instance, in the US, there are several cases which relate to the interpretation by court on questions of infringement, not necessarily a technology, but copyrights and other related rights also. In the case of New York Times versus Anthropic, the district court ruled that use by Anthropic for training its machines about the data that it had obtained from the New York Times news was not an infringement of the copyright, which was in New York Times. Similarly, another case where Bart's, it's a publishing company, they sued OpenAI, and OpenAI, as we all know, is one of our giants in AI, and they were downloading books and training them putting them on their machines and training the machines so people could have some information, and the machines would be able to use that data actually. You see, AI is nothing but what we feed into the machines. It cannot. Human intellect up till now there was a study which I should have bought recently that came out that human intellect is still far ahead of where AI stands, although it is quite dangerously at a very high level of intellect, but still, because AI is what we feed into the machines. So the court had to divide the issue into 2 or 3 different aspects and see that the books which were downloaded were pirated books, there was an infringement. But books which were purchased, so there was this concept, the other concepts of intellectual property, like fair use and exhaustion of rights came into being also. So the court held that such materials were not infringed. So these issues are going to come up. The courts are going to be busy, and I think the pressure will be on the courts to interpret the rights.
Okay, so sounds like the future is shaping at both sides, the regulatory and also the ability to assess and judge and understand situations that are new to maybe all courts in the world, right?
Yeah, I think
Something that didn't experience before.
if the regulations and legislations are adopted, they may be amended according to the requirements. But I am a very strong proponent of legislating, you see. Anything that has to be has to be done under the umbrella of the laws, you see.
Yes.
And successful businessmen, successful entrepreneurs, successful people, successful countries do get legislation undertaken and put in place, so then they can use that as a tool for furtherance of their rights, you see. So in the absence of those regulations, there are going to be these open questions.
I'm sure we'll have also a journey of training prosecutors, interrogators, and judges and lawyers, right? Because the whole system needs to be upgraded to meet or to cater to this new world, like this new set of regulations. I'll go back a little bit to the universities and commercializations and go to Dr. Hiba with, in your opinion and from practice, what blocks the research from becoming protectable or market relevant IP? I mean, we know this is like a whole chain of steps and go through different phases of like finance and support and skill mix and so on. But what in your opinion is blocking this? Because we know for a fact that's not happening often, right? It's not happening enough, at least.
I believe because researchers are focusing on having a proof of concept, but the market needs product that could be scalable.
Yes.
That's why this is the gap between what researchers think and what the market is looking for. That's why this is our role at the IP and Technology Transfer Office is to help our researchers and guide them in developing the technology readiness level of the research outcomes to be able to be applied in the industry. So we can have like until TRL 5 maximum, but with the help of the industry and the scalability of the industry partner, we can increase the technology readiness level to be able to get commercialized to the market. I think this is a key point that all IPTTO or the Technology Transfer Office needs to work and to guide the researchers on it. And also, I think as I have mentioned before, the key to balance between publications and what could be what could our researchers work on to develop the research to be translated into a product that could be commercialized to the market. That's why we need to increase the awareness with our researchers that publications does not don't block the research work, but you can balance between it when you are making publications on what couldn't be claims on your patent in the patent. And for the third point, that is related on the rules and the law gap, as Dr. Idris mentioned, we are still improving how we protect IP. Many researchers worry that if someone steals their ideas, law might take too long to help them. This makes people hesitant to try. That's why we are trying as at Nile University as the educational institution to launch a new diploma that is called Management of Technology and IP Law, is to educate legal professionals on how they can deal with those kind of issues. And this diploma is currently at the ECU for to get the approval. So
This
we
is
can
marketing for the diploma or something?
no, but because I think this is I have
Yes,
Dr.
I know.
Idris.
It's a good opportunity, I guess.
No, I don't think this is marketing, but I believe that if I'm a researcher and I'm working on a research that could be translated into the market, into product, and I'm not feeling safe when this product could commercialize, that could be someone could copy it. That's
Sure.
why I believe that we need to educate people on something like this.
Sure. Let me go to Ms. Islam, and I would like you to describe for us what would make a great and distinguished technology transfer office. How can you describe that? What are the key characteristics that makes it so great, effective, and delivering?
For me, what distinguishes a major TTO is the TTO looks beyond the patents and try to create real impact. As Dr. Heba said, we need to help researchers to move their research from lab to market. And TTO is not about just about the IP, but IP the most outcome of the many projects. So we need to make, as a patent attorney, I need to see the perspective of IP. It is sorry, IP. We need to, as a major TTO, we need to move these research in sustainable and the structural way. With the structural way, we need to move it like that. But we need expertise group about in IP, about project offices and entrepreneurship. They need to work together first of all, and the criteria. Measuring the success criteria in early stage of TTOs sometimes can be just innovation. How many invention disclosure has been received, or how many filings has been done, or just these are just numbers. They are not any value, because yesterday Mr. Tariq Halil has mentioned that we don't eat papers, we don't eat patents as well. We need to create value from that. To create value, we can establish startups, we can do collaborations. There are lots of ways to do. Major TTOs should be the strategists to make the researchers follow the right way to create the value. This is I think this simple sentence is: we need to act as a secretariat unit. We are not secretariats. We need to. Sometimes my mom doesn't understand what I am doing. Generally, I always tell, but at least I say I'm a consultant. I'm a consultant of the scholars. I need to teach them the right way to go and create value. I think this is the most distinguishable way. And as Heba said again, we need to collaborate. We need to build bridges between the researchers and TTOs and potential companies, markets, anyway, they need to trust us. We need to build a trust between us. For this, we can organize awareness activities. We can make meetings. I generally prefer to go one-on-one meetings, maybe just say, hocam in Turkish, Prof, can we have a coffee? Just talk. Do you have any problem with that? Any concerns? Let's do that. Solve that problem. But for that, we need to be transparent. We need to do take our decisions in transparent way. Maybe in our school, we have a committee bringing the head of legal perspective, technical perspective, and business perspective. Every month we have a meeting. We evaluate the invention disclosure forms or just any patent management things, and then we decided together. We are all discussed everything. These inventions are just babies of the scholars, so we need to evaluate them by one, and case assessment is really important. I think that's all.
Thank you. We'll come back, and maybe even after the panel, this entire arrangement was built on technology transfer inside out, when technology is generated already in science and in engineering and so on. But I found practices that I'm familiar with in British Columbia and other places where actually the identifying gaps of knowledge or requirements at the industry, where we have the capacity and the capability to cater to it, to address it, and bring out solution. That's actually through research contracts. We don't even claim IP for that. It's basically done for serving the community and also benefiting the community. We charge heavily for this back at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. So this is one channel that I found it not common in our area, that we try to make that link, identify issues, introduce ourselves as problem solvers. Like universities should be doing that part too. But TTO, with the strict definition of it, yes, it will probably be always looking for bringing the inside innovation out. But I think we need to evolve beyond the TTO with this definition to something that we used to call University Industry Liaison Office, right? So it has the TTO, it has the research contracts, has like a wider scope. Can I go back to Justice Khan and ask what makes the enforcement work beyond good laws, right? Enforcement is something that needs to be happening on the ground. Laws are built to give us the guardrails, work within, right? What makes the enforcement work and beyond that?
I think I've been a judge also of the High Court, so I served as a judge for 10 years in the highest court. And I think the best and the simplest solution is you need to have a good lawyer. First of all, you need to put your facts together. Beyond the law's enforcement, that is the question. So where the lawyer has to create a way. A good lawyer will always receive a good judgment. Judges are subjected to what, of course, they would use their knowledge, but if it's a good lawyer who's pleading a case and who's leading into a direction, that would help the judge tremendously. And a good judge should not have a preconceived notice. A good judge should have his or her ears as big as those of an elephant. You can keep his mouth shut and listen to what the lawyer is saying, and then rely on the facts. So where there is no clear law, then it's a tough job for the judge to come out with a resolution, and that is primarily dictated how and in what manner you put your facts, your evidence, your pleadings, and finally how the lawyer is bringing it to the court, and how is the delivery of the lawyer. So all these factors can result in a better solution and a better judgment that comes out.
Thank you very much. I'll go back to Professor Hisham Azmi with your perspective on how should developing countries design fit for purpose IP systems. And I know, and I heard you once talking about that, and you have some perspective on it. So.
Thank you. The rule of thumb, don't replicate any existing IP model. Any country should actually set its national priorities. It has to clarify its institutional capacity, socioeconomic environment. This is very, very important to build a proper IP system. This is exactly what happened in the case of Egypt. Actually, when Egypt did inaugurate its national policy strategy, rather, back in September 2022, that was an output of very comprehensive work done through a committee that was formed specifically for this purpose. The committee worked for almost 2 years to put together this national strategy, considering every single factor, doing comparative studies, doing SWOT analysis, considering all national strategies, Egypt's Vision 2030, the economic reform project, all treaties and conventions that Egypt has ratified, because actually you have to consider everything to ensure that the final product would accommodate your local needs. A good IP system is not only about protection again, it should have an impact of a measurable societal and economic value as well. I do have one concern regarding the Egyptian case that I would like to raise at this point, because I'm not sure whether I will be able to, sorry, to stay longer, that I'd like to share with our distinguished speakers and also with our guests. And there's one question probably that would be followed regarding the one major threats pertinent to AI. Now, to me, we really have an issue regarding the underrepresentation of Arabic language pertinent to all training data. The majority of the IP models that we are relying and using right now are coming from non-Arabic resources. Now, given the fact that these resources, we are not against other languages. However, now there are things that should be tackled very carefully when it comes to culture, history, heritage, geography, civilization, because the chances of bias, non-objectivity are very, very high when you are actually counting on resources that did not use Arabic as its main resource. We need to exert so much effort to inject more Arabic language resources in the online environment. This is not an effort that would be done by one single organization, not even one country. This is a huge effort that, and I raised that actually even in the Arab League, that this should be an initiative by all Arab countries to inject more material to ensure that whatever we are using in the AI systems are pertinent to us. Now, mind you, I'm not referring only to issues pertinent to culture or history or civilization. And by the way, I'm not worried about us or our age group, because we are already immune. We filter what we hear. We have the ability to say what's right and what is wrong. But think about the 5 or 6 or 7 years old, that with all the attraction of online environments, mixing now AI with metaverse, as you know, and you get this young kid and ask him, let's discuss who built the pyramids, for instance. And I would ask you, and probably you have already, just ask anything pertinent to our history. And try to compare that with our firm beliefs try to type October War, for instance, and see what you will get. Now, this is not, by the way, pertinent to history or social sciences and humanities only, but also it is pertinent to science and technology, because when it comes to health sciences and medicine, you have localized medicine, right? عندنا امراض متوطنه مظبوط، والامراض المتوطنه معلش هتكلم في دي بالعربي. الامراض المتوطنه means that you have the illness or disease here, the symptoms are here, the diagnosis is here, and the treatment is here. So unless actually you have local health information system that would cater for those needs, you won't be able actually to do anything. Probably you will check any health global database. You will find answers for the agreed upon, like, because medicine, of course, is a global science. However, and to summarize, I think this issue has to be tackled. This is very, very important, and I'm not sure whether this really could be taken into consideration if some recommendations out of this conference would be, because I think this is a major issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief on. I'll try to be brief on my once we finish the last question, I'll give it a chance. Try to be brief on the last question we have. I just need each one of you to kindly provide one legal or institutional or behavioral change that we must see so that IP still remain relevant in the coming 5 years. Just one change, whether legal, institutional, or behavioral. Start with you, Eslam.
For me, the expertise is really important. Younger generation is using AI widely, but while using AI, there is an issue that can lose their expert, or they cannot gain any expertise. So the education and the capacity building is really important in 5 years.
Okay.
Really short.
So going to different mode of education and capacity building than where we are today. This has to change, right? Yeah. Okay.
As Dr. Hisham has said, our generation has gone through many changes. So we understand the background, the knowledge, and so on. But as Özlem has said, the younger generation, kids, my grandchildren, 4 or 5 years old, who are going to school, they are on a tablet, and they have access to so much of information because of that tablet. So they don't have that background information. So they are going to be, they're going to be in a position where they are following those information that they get from this vulnerable, the right word, vulnerable.
So what needs to be changed?
So the solution is that we teach, from the nursery onwards, we teach our children the basic principles, the basic, know-how. Like when in India or in the subcontinent, we started learning, in the school, we used to write on a slate. So, we knew how to form an alphabet. We knew how to form a picture. We knew how to do. So that was the basic learning, that we started with. And of course, in our generation, is a unique generation. Now we have come to this digital age where everything is so fast. So we need to have a curriculum for our kids, for our the beginning, the classes, the early classes, where kids are also made to think, they are made to use, they're given information on whatever is a local history, whatever is the background of their culture. So they are aware, and then they are not they are not fully vulnerable to a culture which is coming through all these Netflixes and through all these channels which are now have invaded our homes.
So if I put it in certain conclusive words, we protect them with structured local knowledge,
Yes.
right? So, and we embed this in their early learning so that it's actually
also,
absorbed and so on.
And also, sticking to the topic, also start
Well-
giving them information on what are the experiments, because I went to a lab in my schooling system. I went to a lab in when I was in standard
Yes.
1, you see, I
Yes.
was 7, 8 years old. And,
Yes.
and my teachers taught me how to make water out of oxygen
Yes. Yes.
and
All,
so
all the wonderful,
all the
all the
old ways.
experiences.
So
Dr.
some of that has to be retained.
Sure. Dr. Hiba, can you give us your perspective on one thing? Not a problem, a solution. Something that needs to change.
Needs to change or a behavioral change?
You believe?
A behavioral change.
A behavior, yeah. It's either
I
an
think,
institutional
yes,
rules, regulation,
I
or
believe
behavior.
for one of the happiest moment I experienced here at Nile University when when researchers have results, realizes that they have research work and a result that works, and they called me to tell me that they have something that they want to present to me before publishing their work. I think this change in their behavior was for me a very important moment and a very change in their behavior toward publications and IP protection.
And that's awareness for sure. Dr. Azmi.
I think we need IP systems that are ever evolving, that would cater for the developments that are actually happening in the innovation cycle, and not to be reactive.
Okay, how can we do that? All right, I will take one question from the floor and maybe a second one maximum, because I know that you have a time commitment. Please. Go ahead. And can you kindly make it brief? Because you had. We can't hear you. No, it's not working. The microphone is not working.
I started my career long time ago, and I will tell you very briefly how
Your career
the
must be
path.
very long.
No,
so
no,
it has to be
but it
extremely brief.
is
Yes.
important, you know, for everybody. When I started, I did my master's degree here in Cairo University, and there was very difficult ways to get books and the references and so on, but I did. And I published 4 papers in the US at that time about solar energy, and they are still more accessible than anything. But at the moment, at that time, I didn't worry about any patent or anything. And then I saw that what I did became used by the Japanese first, and then it was applied.
Right.
This is just history. Now I worked after that in very large companies in the US. And there you recognize from first day that whatever
You give up your rights to
give
any
your
IP
rights.
because
So-
that's a contract.
So
Yes.
this is
Quite normal, yes.
So I go on.
Yes.
Now I finished, my career, and then I have an idea. Okay, that idea is very valuable, and I started talking to a large company, and then they started imposing a lot of things for me. So I stopped talking to them about this. Now I want to develop this here. And I have 2 choices. One, to try to do it fast or to do it slow. And I decided, okay, this idea is 3 years with me. So now I started trying AI, and I find it useful. So I can speed up.
Sure.
I am teaching AI because when I ask the question,
That's normal, yes. You have to train the AI in order to get some relevant
but in
results.
the meantime, I'm training the world.
Yes.
I'm training.
In a
the
way,
world.
yes, you accept that once you use it.
So
Yes.
this is the real dilemma for
Sure.
somebody in this age.
Yes.
You want to do it,
You-
okay? You have to use
You-
AI, but
When you
This-
use it, you lose
you
some of the
lose
IP.
control.
That's actually one thing that
So
we need to
this
address.
is real serious.
Yes. Yeah. I'm very, thank you very much for the comment, and I would like to thank all our panelists for their time, insights, and contribution to this dialogue. This dialogue needs to continue, I guess, and not now, of course, but in the later incidents. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This was a wonderful panel, wonderful presentations. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Dr. Ala. Yes. We would like to present you with a small token of appreciation for your being with us. Thank you, Dr. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please. I appreciate it. Dr. Heba. Then a group pic. Okay, a group picture, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, a group picture.
Very good job.
We'll take a group picture. Group photo. Yeah. You wait, a group photo, please. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. شكرا فتحي شكرا جدا.
Thank you so much for this amazing panel discussion. We will now be hearing a keynote presentation titled Einstein Revisited Through the Information Technology Revolution. Please welcome Professor Tariq Khalil, our conference chair, founder and chairman of the IMED board and founding president of Nile University, and Mr. Muhammad Azdam, IMED and ACSR board member and member of the Global Digital Commission at the ICC.
Go over there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good afternoon. Actually, it's not good morning. We are a few minutes past 12.
Oh, we're past 12.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
And we have a blackout as well.
Oh, it's a blackout. Turn out the lights.
But it's a digital blackout, it's not electricity blackout.
It is?
It is a digital blackout, so we can have the lights on.
Wow. Something must have been happening. What's going on, Mr. Azam?
Actually, Professor Khalil, we are witnessing an era of uncertainty.
Why?
And because we are in the field of management of technology, and that's why you know why. The pace is beyond our capacity to comprehend, and not so many people see the consequences of unmanaged technology, especially information.
Something strange is happening in the world today.
Serious, I would say.
Wow. Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Why?
Mr. Einstein.
Oh, who is this?
This Albert Einstein.
He doesn't have a barber?
No. He's quite genius.
He never cut his hair?
No.
Why? He needs
He had
to go
so many things to take care of, actually.
no barber shop?
No barber shops because he was concentrating on creating a new wave of technology, a new era of technology.
He was too busy.
He's too busy, yes, definitely.
Doing what?
Doing his paper in 1905.
He did a paper.
Yes.
What did the paper say? No, didn't say that.
No, this is me and this is you.
Oh,
We are actually challenging this gentleman.
they said something
We are saying something new here.
about what?
Can you move to the next slide?
If I can find it.
Here one, the 1905 paper.
It said mass and energy. What? Two basic elements of physical realities. There is mass
And energy.
and energy.
E equals mc squared.
Ah. That was what? Changed? Did the world change?
Yes, a lot. We are talking here more than a century now, almost 120 years. His paper published in 1905, and we are 2026, so it's 121 years.
121
21 years.
years
Quite a
ago.
time. Yes.
He did say what? I am not sure. No. We missed that, yeah, Dr. Muhammad. What did he say?
Mr. Einstein,
Yeah.
he said that small, tiny mass could produce a huge power by multiplying mass of the light, the speed of the light to power 2.
What does that have to do with this?
Actually, this comes after Einstein paper.
Why?
EIH started.
Einstein said what?
Einstein said that E energy equals mass times the speed of light to power 2.
E equals mc square.
Huge energy.
What's c square? Einstein published his theory, which equals E equals mc square. What's C?
Can I say?
Huh?
Or should the audience tell us?
No, we can find out. Does people know?
Do you have Google? Do you have ChatGPT?
Mass? Oh, ChatGPT
I'm
can
telling
tell
you all
us.
the time to use ChatGPT to
Anybody
get
has
answers.
ChatGPT? Huh?
Constant of what?
Speed of light. Oh, that's the fastest thing in the world. You can get to the fastest speed of the world. So you can equate energy with mass and speed of the light. That's wonderful. You can create huge power, energy, huge power with small mass and speed of energy. Gee, you can create a bomb, maybe, with mass and speed of light. You can create an atomic bomb, or maybe a hydrogen bomb, maybe later on. But he doesn't. Why? Because that's science. Einstein was a scientist. What does science produce? Good papers. You can publish it in a magazine, right? In science, you publish it in a magazine. And as a scientist, you can get hired in the university. And you can get paid the salary of a professor.
Which is good or not?
At a Princeton. And you can get a good salary, right? But to make a hydrogen bomb, what do you need? You need a technologist. And who is the technologist?
There was a movie about
technologist
him.
Is Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer, you can weigh him in gold. The technologist, you can weigh him in gold. Einstein, you can pay him the salary of a professor. He can publish a good paper. But Oppenheimer, you can weigh him in gold. Because he can give you an atomic bomb. And you can own the world. Now, Mr. Trump can drop the bomb over your head whenever he wants to. And he can own the world. That's the difference between a scientist and a technologist. That's the power of technology to start with. That's just an idea. Keep that in mind. Let's go back here now. Technology can be transferred in a cassette form or in a coded form. The coded form is what Mr. Einstein tried to do. E equals mc squared. He wrote it in a coded form so we can understand it. That's why the power of coding, language. That's what the ancient Egyptians did. That's the contribution of the ancient Egyptians. Writing, coding. That's what you're going to find out when you visit the temples of Upper Egypt. That's what you're going to find when you go to the Grand Egyptian Museum. Ancient Egyptians' contributions to the world is writing.
And mathematics as well.
And mathematics.
And science.
And science.
Material science. They invented or they realized that's a pigment of nano characteristics like 5,500 years ago as well.
And biotechnology and nanotechnology. Everything that we know today in science and technology. Because they moved things from tacit knowledge to coded knowledge. So we can transfer the technology. Now, In order to transfer technology, you have to move it to a coded form. In order to transfer technology, you have to keep it secret. If you want to keep the technology, the patent, you just heard the panel here, to keep it secret, you have to protect it with a patent. But if you want to break the patent, you have to break the code. So how do you break the code? You need someone to break the code. Who broke the code during the Second World War? You remember?
Alan Turing, exactly.
Alan Turing at Bletchley Park.
North
He's
of
the
London.
one that broke the code. If Alan Turing didn't break the code at Bletchley Park, the Allies wouldn't have won the Second World War. Because the Germans were sinking the ships of the Allies in the Atlantic Ocean. And he broke the code. And he used machines. What machines?
Bombi.
Huh?
Bombi, the
What
machine.
was the machine, Mr.
Actually, this
What,
an
what,
old picture.
what
This is the
is that?
ENIAC.
Huh?
This is the ENIAC. The
This is-
Bombi comes. Open your ChatGPT or open your Google. Look at
you have
Alan Turing.
ChatGPT?
Open. Look at your phone.
What is Mr. Turing used?
But actually, before inventing the machine, he also published a paper almost 100 years ago saying that machines can learn because he can convert the way of learning into mathematical forms.
Alan Turing. Look at Alan Turing. Come on. Alan Turing did something. Alan Turing was the beginning of AI. That's where AI started. So everybody is talking about AI. That's where the beginning of AI. Alan Turing at Bletchley Park. Then came later on the ENIAC at the University of Pennsylvania. Dr. Tariq Salani is here. Stand up, Dr. Tariq.
Give a hand to Dr. Tariq.
What did you do, Dr. Tariq? You did something. What did you do? Unisys. He was the president of Unisys. What did Unisys do? What? What? Univac. You know the Univac? Please, ChatGPT. What does ChatGPT talk about the Univac? That's the first computer. Later on came the IBM 360s and the 370s, the big computers that we used to put in warehouses and 5 stories building that used by banks and insurance companies and airlines. Later on came Mr. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in the 70s with the Apple II. And later on came IBM with the PCs. You remember that? If you don't, Google it.
Or ChatGPT.
Oh, ChatGPT. AI. We're talking about AI, aren't we? We are in the age of AI. Let's talk about AI. What? We are in the age of AI?
Not only AI, I think we are an age of AI coupled with bioengineering. Coupled with,
bioengineering too?
Definitely.
What's the bioengineering?
Bioengineering is the marriage between information technology and biosciences.
And bioscience, oh wow. Bioengineering and biotechnology. We used to call biotechnology before it used to be human factors and ergonomics. That's when we went to the States, when President Kennedy said, we're going to put a man on the moon and bring him back alive. That's when we went to school in the USA, Dr. Hemmet. You remember that? That was a long time ago. You were not born yet, many of you.
Most of us.
I wasn't born
Including
yet
myself.
either. You weren't born. I wasn't born either. Okay. The nuclear technology in 1945, Mr. Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. US owned the world. From there on, all products and services were owned by America, by the USA and its allies. Actually, the allies were totally broken. Europe was occupied by the USA.
Devastated, actually.
Huh?
It was devastated.
What? Germany was totally occupied, destroyed. Japan was totally occupied.
France
was totally
Italy.
occupied.
Austria.
Everybody was occupied by the United States. So whatever the Americans produced was being sold all over the world. So the American corporations flourished, particularly the automotive industry. The big three, Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, American Motors, became huge corporations. There was also General Electric, Westinghouse, whatever. All those were huge companies. Unisys, which disappeared later, unfortunately, until Dr. Tariq came and saved them. Thank you, Dr. Tariq, for saving Unisys. You did well. That was the ugly face of technology.
If it's not managed by the way.
Technology has an ugly face and it has a good face. That was the ugly face of technology. If we can move this, maybe. It's not moving. Maybe you are in the way.
Maybe. Most probably I'm in the way. No. Okay.
Okay.
Like
Now came a bunch of people. Who are they? Shannon.
Cloud Shannon.
Built the pipes.
Quantifying information.
Wiener. Explain the flow.
The feedback system through information. Arthur McLuhan. Medium
revealed the societal ripples.
Because medium is the content, not the content. Actually, technology shapes our perception of knowledge.
These guys created the evolution of information. That was very important. thing.
الناحية التانية.
The democratization of computing. Every person now could own a computer. So technology became in the hands of individuals, not big corporations. Now you can take the computer home. So individuals were empowered with technology. That was never happening before. For the first time, you can go home with your computer, with the Apple II. This thing is a little slow, but we'll get it eventually.
Next slide, please. Next slide.
Also, democratization of knowledge with Google.
But actually, the democratization of knowledge, Professor Khalil, started with the invention of the printing press 1450. Almost how many years? 600 years ago, availing a technology to make information accessible for everyone, not for the elites. And this changed the world. But
that's the Renaissance. That's Gutenberg.
Gutenberg in Germany.
That's the printing press. That's what created the Renaissance in Europe, and that's what sparked the Industrial Revolution. That's what sparked the first Industrial Revolution in the 1870s and 1880s, followed by the second Industrial Revolutions in the 1905 with Henry Ford and the assembly line and with the electric power. The third Industrial Revolution is the information technology revolution with the PCs, with the information technology, which empowered people with technology. Now we are in a different world because the information is doubling immensely. We used to have what's called Moore's Law. You know what Moore's Law is? Google it. Moore's is the founder of Intel. You know what Intel is? Intel is the company that powered the PCs, right? Chips, the microchips. Moore's law said that the number of the transistors on the microchips is going to be doubled every 18 months, and the price will be halved. For the first time in history, the technology is going to be increased and the price is going to go down. For the first time, you can have more technology with less cost. Never happened in history before. And that Moore's law kept alive for many years, from the 70s to almost 2010 maybe, until some crazy company came called NVIDIA. You know NVIDIA? Google it. That broke that law. Huh? Yeah. NVIDIA. Look at what's going on. It's crazy. What did NVIDIA do?
Actually, we're going to
Mr.
talk
Hassan?
about it created
What?
economic nuclear bomb.
Now, today, the size of data exceeds 150 zettabytes. Do you know what zettabytes is? Do you know how to count? Did you learn in school how to count? How many zeros are these? Huh?
21.
1,
Exactly.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Now I don't know how to count beyond that.
It's very hard to count.
I can stop here. You can count the rest. By the year 2030, the amount of data is going to be how much?
Almost triple.
394 zettabytes. Can you count? Let's keep counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you continue? Let's continue the number of zeros. Huh? Who is going to count with me? Yeah, count. Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh?
Exactly.
How many?
21 zeros.
Let's keep counting.
But this won't be
How
valid.
many? Where did you reach? Huh? How many? Where are you? How many zeros are we? Not yet? Did you get to the right number of zeros yet? When you get to the number right of zeros, let me know until I switch the slide, okay?
Switch it, Dr. Tar,
Okay,
because this is actually
okay.
21 exactly. But data could be doubled every second. in
Now
the
we're
very near
talking
future.
about data doubling every second. Gee, what's going on? What's going on? We are in a different world, totally different world. So what's going on? Something is happening in here. Global data volume projection in zettabytes. The curve is changing. Look at the curve. It's becoming exponential.
Really? I doubt it will be in the exponential. It's beyond the exponential curve.
It's not an S curve anymore. We used to talk about the S curve for technology. You know the S curve for technology? The mass and the speed of light even, that used to be S curve for mass, even for the speed of light, it used to have an S curve.
Because
Read
it has
the
the
book.
physical.
I wrote a book on management of technology. Read it. It's free on the net. Now, I don't get any money for it anymore because it's free
But
on
the
the
new
net.
version will
You
have.
can download it. It's free. Go read the book, please. It's free. I'm not going to collect any money on it anymore. It's free on the net. There's a new edition that may come out soon. But that's There's always a physical limit for physical items. But now we're talking about you can store information on DNA that can store all of the world data.
It's 1 kilogram only.
1
size.
kilogram. It's crazy. That's where we're going. That's where Mr.
Elon Musk, Jeff
Elon
Bezos, a lot of the tech billionaires are now thinking seriously of building data centers in outer space.
We should have brought him here in one of the panel on the billionaires. Would have been interesting to bring him on one of the billionaire panels, right? He would have livened out the conversation some. Data centers in outer space. Where are we? Are we into this game? Are we going to play this game or not? Can we play the game?
This is another very important thing. Are we able to forecast or foresee the new technologies now with this space? Or we'll have black swans every minute? You know what is black swan? A technology or unprecedented event that has a massive transformation beyond our capacity to forecast. We had the internet in late 1990s, a very famous TV anchor in the US Good Morning America show, one of the most famous one, said, what's the internet? What are we going to do with the internet? And this what happened with the social media, and this what happened with the generative AI. So the cycles are becoming beyond our capacity to forecast or have a formula to forecast the evolution of technology, because the evolution of technology actually affecting the evolution of other technology. AI is affecting bioengineering. Bioengineering is affecting the storage technology, affecting the new or the next gen communication system, the edge computing, the quantum computing, and all mixed together.
So, what is being proposed here is the following. Einstein formula no longer exists. Why? We are in the age of information. So the S curve no longer exists.
We're approaching Y curve, infinity.
The new formula should be E equals mc square I, where I is information, because the I is the dominant. Information acts as its transformative force, disruptive, political, economic, and formative structure. That is what's happening in the world today. And let us talk about some evidence of this. Mr. Muhammad.
Thank you, Professor.
Could you tell us some of this?
May I have this? You used it too much. My turn to use it. We've seen over the last few years, starting with the Ukraine-Russia war, so many changes that we need to understand what's happening. Actually, the era of mechanical war and state-centric wars is almost over. The concepts of conflicts that we had starting from the end or even during the Second World War, and even within the era of the Cold War, is over. Why it's over? Do you have an idea what's over? Why? It's becoming costly. And moreover, because of democratization of knowledge, this leading to democratization of power as well. Now we can see that there is a shift from the power beyond the state to non-state actors, including organized organized crime, terrorists, and even individuals. Now individuals and non-state actors can challenge governments, and even smaller countries can challenge the most powerful governments as well. We've seen this in a lot of cases. We've seen this very clear in Ukraine as a small state challenging Russia. A nuclear power, one of the superpowers, and with a small drone that is commercially based drone with some modification, it's like 30,000 US drone, can hit the strategic airports and can hit the most advanced aircrafts in the Russian Federation and costing them $8 billion US with a small drone launched from a truck. So now we are moving beyond the traditional warfare strategies and tactics.
Faster a little bit, Mohammed.
Sorry.
Faster a little bit.
Okay. So we have what's called the I war. The I war is, as I said, is the democratization of power beyond the state. And we have three pillars of the I war. One of them, individualization, based on identification, based on information. Individualization, I don't have to go for mass strikes, but I can target specific individuals within decentralized network. Identification, now we have real-time biometric identification. Now we have DNA catalog and DNA analysis, and also we have social. Actually, we've been under analysis in real time all the time. I can have a profile of you. I can target you. I can have a sort of information, real-time information about your behavior, your activities, your intention, what you see, what do you see, what you don't see. And always information is the backbone of the I war. This is a typical example of I war today. Even nations are capable for elimination of high-ranked officials because they identify them, they individualize targets, based on identification, interception of phone calls, interception of information coming from your GPS on the mobile, interception of your calls, your SMS messages, your everything. And I can analyze millions of records real time, giving real-time scenarios and tactics for special troops. And this is what happened with Maduro, the ex-president of El Salvador. This will raise another issue that we're going to talk about later. So I war is becoming, we have a sort of erosion between boundaries, between the boundaries among military, intelligence, and domestic security, which is something very serious. And most of the people around the world are very concerned about that. Because if I can use this against my enemy, I can use it for domestic purposes as well. And we are witnessing a global AI arms race with hundreds of billions by the United States, China. Of course, Europeans are very lag behind for advancing what's called lethal autonomous weapons. Lethal autonomous weapons. A machine can take a decision of killing someone without human supervision. Are we ready to give this authority, this kind of authority of matter, or the matter of life and death, to a machine autonomously? This is a big question that we need to answer. That's why we are in a dilemma, or actually there are a lot of things that we need to think about. Are these technological advancements with the pace that beyond our capacity to comprehend, is that the international laws, international regulatory frameworks still valid, or still is the international humanitarian law still valid? The humanitarian international law saying that I cannot target civilians, but what about having a massive cyber attack about the banking system? What about having a massive cyber attack against the healthcare system? What about hacking your cameras and having a sort of social scoring based on your behavior on the internet? Is that covered by this international law, or we need to think differently, and we need to think of a different governing laws and legal regulatory frameworks that could fit within the main purpose of saving humans? Also, information can be weaponized. I can weaponize, I can poison information. And this we're seeing every day. Actually, this very interesting report issued by Oxford Institute of Internet a few years ago, saying that 81 countries all over the world are intentionally monopolizing or manipulating information for manipulating the public opinion. Are these 81 plus countries coming from a third world or belong to the third world countries? Actually, the report said that 45 countries that are considered democratic nations are using the same technique to manipulate and to direct the public opinion about a lot of things. So now information can weaponize, can be poisoned, because we are living in an era of infodemic, actually. And as Arthur McLuhan said in 1964, that medium is the content, technology is the content. Through the technology, I can change your perception. It has been evident since actually the propaganda issue or the propaganda concept developed during the 15th century, and it was being used during the Nazi era, and it has been used now across the whole countries through the social media. That's why even a massive cyber attacks can now trigger Article number 5, the collective defense Article number 5 within the NATO. So if I'm gonna to hit Britain and actually attacking their energy power grids, or attacking their financial market, or attacking their healthcare system and get it down, this considered a massive cyber attack that all the allies should stand by United Kingdom and defend them. But attacking whom in this case? Who is the attacker? A nation? Or just a group of people living behind screens? This is another thing. If I'm going to shut down the healthcare system in France, nobody can blame Egypt for that. Just an individual living or in Egypt or living in South Africa or living in the North Pole with a computer, an internet, and a server, and virtual private networks, and a lot of free to get techniques or technologies, I can destroy an economy. I can spread rumor. I can deep fake information. And nobody can blame my country. If I'm just an individual, anonymous individual, very hard to locate. So information also, Professor Khalid, is becoming economic atomic bomb. And you mentioned Intel and NVIDIA. Let's see how it could be an economic and actually without destruction. You are not killing any person. You are not destroying a city. No, لا ارجع تاني معلش.
Okay. NVIDIA. Destroyed Moore's law. Its valuation
4.5 trillion.
4.5 trillion. Trillion.
Or 4,500 billions.
You know how that is? You have some change in your pocket?
I have 10 pounds. Is that could be considered as part of this evaluation?
You know what Intel is that invented the microchip? No? It's 187 billion.
A tiny company, actually. Very tiny company.
Moore's law has been destroyed. That's the power of technology. They destroyed Moore's law. Now, the funny thing, which is even more funny, the power of disruption of technology. Some kids in China, what did they do?
This gentleman actually is almost 40 years old. DeepSeek, Liang Wenfeng.
You heard of DeepSeek? What did they do? They came up with
a better model, cheaper model.
A cheaper model.
Even with the existence of the American sanction of exporting US high tech to China. They use open source license by MIT. They were able to store some of NVIDIA low cost, low power processors and use it. And they trained the model for $6 million US, while Sam Altman of OpenAI trained his model for 100 million.
Guess what happened?
Don't tell me, Dr. Tariq.
Guess what happened? NVIDIA's stock on the stock market dropped. How much? How much, Dr. Hassan?
Actually, just 560 billion in a single night. Night.
In one day.
The largest loss in the history of the American stock market. 560 because a startup, 40 years old, made a better, cheaper model, made the US economy or a single company, and consequently the US economy, to lose 560 billion in a single night.
Single day.
And it's actually, the size of money is huge, isn't?
That's equivalent to the GDP of Sweden
in a whole year,
in the whole year.
or Portugal and Finland combined in a 1 year.
3 kids sitting in an office
In Beijing.
and the machine. Wonderful. That's the effect of technology.
This is an economic bomb, by the way. If I need to invade, if China decided to invade United States and make a severe damage to United States,
Doesn't need to.
do I need nuclear bombs? Do I need another jet equivalent to the B-2 bomber? Do I need ballistic rockets? Or I need just a group of kids, intelligent kids with good machines, and make something that make United States lose 560 billion overnight?
What you need is R&D as a weapon.
Of course, if you need to own technology, you need to have R&D.
That's the growing battle for technological dominance. Look at the figures.
Hold on, Dr.
China.
Tariq. I thought the United States actually is the largest
You had a
country.
panel on IP, intellectual property. China, how many patents?
1,642,582 patents.
How much?
This is 47% of the world. Look at the United States with IBM and Qualcomm, SpaceX, all the great companies just producing 414,479. Only third of China.
That's why now the US is mad about China. Why do you think the US is mad about China right now? It's too late. China is out of the box. Huawei. What? 6,000 patents per year.
More than Poland.
Than Poland. Of course. One company. Huawei. Who started?
Tariq left actually.
He was called. Huh? Maybe
Most
they have a
probably.
crisis at Unisys. What can we do? Oh, gee. Oh, gee.
We have new emperors and new empires as well because of the technology, of the information technology.
What Mr. Claude do?
This gentleman actually, he made clothes. It's an AI agent that was used by the American government for analyzing real-time data that helped US to capture the Venezuelan President Maduro.
Venezuelan president was picked up from his bedroom with his wife.
Because of this guy, because of this AI agent, by the way.
With the army and the police and the guy standing in front of the door and everything.
He was captured. Poor guy. Poor guy, because he don't have this gentleman working for him, actually.
You're talking about AI. What's going on? What the heck is going on? Gee.
Now this is very interesting, actually. U.S. against company. It's the case in the court. U.S. against TikTok. Why U.S.?
You using TikTok?
Are you TikToker?
Oh, gee.
Who is TikToker here?
Who uses TikTok? Anybody uses TikTok?
Me recently.
Oh, gee. No, they didn't like, no.
Rick is using TikTok. Actually, because of you, Rick, United States decided to go into a lawsuit against TikTok, forcing them to give up the company for United States. But TikTok has 1.8 billion users,
Okay.
300 or 200 million Americans, having the full profile of the Americans.
Okay.
So they can do whatever they'd like with the American society based on real-time information.
Okay.
Uh,
The ethical dilemma.
This is
Talk about it quickly. but
yes, sure. I
quickly,
know we are running out
quickly,
of time.
yeah,
Yes,
because we are running
and
out of time.
now we have ethical dilemma because unmanaged technology could lead to chaos. And now, who is challenging the most powerful office? This gentleman. He said to the U.S. government, "Do not use my technology." And then there is also another concern of the role of the private contractors in analyzing data. What about the trust? What about the integrity? What about the accountability? Planter is another defense tech company using this. It could be used against domestic society. It can be used for domestic surveillance. So we have a lot of things here. The world is not as we think it is. And who's owning the data? Of course, I'm sure that most of you are aware of the scandal of having a Signal group. Signal is another application similar to WhatsApp. This Signal group had G.D. Vance, Pete Gist, and the chief of staff discussing bombing Yemen. Use F1, F-15 for first strike, then use Q9 for the second strike, then have another F-18 strike. Who owns the data? The United States government or Signal? And they added to the group a journalist by mistake. So how serious it is? So we need to restore integrity. Otherwise, we need to understand that technology definition expanded from a narrow scope to knowledge applied in the service of mankind. We are shifting from stable technology to very disruptive advancement beyond our capacity to understand. We focus broaden from corporate challenges and providing technology to solve HR problem or a payroll problem or a manufacturing process problem to global challenges, including warfare, including climate change, including even the geopolitical aspects that we are facing today. So we are focusing from corporate challenges to critical global issues and from regional influence to global transformation. So we have now the say, either we'll go for World X.0, that world of prosperity, world of abundance, world of peace, or world 0.0. We're going to reset the world if we are not going to manage this kind of information and the technologies related to information that's beyond our capacity to understand and deal with, then please, we need to save the planet from the digital blackout. Otherwise, it will be a chaos beyond our capacity to understand and our capacity to bear the consequences of this digital blackout is becoming very serious, and we need to manage technology in a conscious way, in an effective way. We need to drop all the stereotype of way of thinking, dealing with our challenges we are facing today, because it's becoming very serious because of democratization of technology leading to democratization of power, and the power and control is getting beyond the state actors to the non-state actors and even you as individuals. So Thank you so much. And let's build again better, competitive, and resilient world together. This is our hope. Thank you so much. Always an honor being with you. Thank you, Professor Khalil. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having us. And sorry if we take or talk much longer time. Thank you. Always pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this amazing panel.
Dr. Azam.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. I think I should do this for you as my mentor, my professor, my guru, my everything, my godfather, actually. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending. What's next?
We will now
lunch
have the lunch break.
We
Now
kept
you can
people
go
from
to
lunch, actually. Sorry, guys.
Lunch is being served. What? What announcement? Okay.
You need to make an announcement?
Okay, yeah. Why don't you come up and talk? Just a quick announcement. Yes, please. Come on, Brun.
ايوه هتبقى الساعة كام؟ المفروض عندك؟ مش موجود بقى مش موجود. يبدأ هي الأجازة. The plan was to. So the lunch break was for 1 hour. I will keep you for 2:30. Yes. Okay. If you just لا انت قولي ان اللانش هيبقى 2:30. 2:30 اخره 2:30. The next session is 2:30.
We will now have our break for lunch. The lunch will be from 1:30 to 2:30, please. We will be back shortly at 2:30.
Let's go for lunch. Bon appetit. No. Okay, it's all.